This week on Retire Wise, let's talk about why people keep working in their retirement years, Shawn. I mean, if you want to work, that's one thing. Hey, enjoy yourself, get out there and work. And that's certainly a good idea. And there could be some other reasons why you want to. And I think the term really has become work optional, right? That's what we're looking for. Do you want to work? Do you have to work? That's the difference.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about this week. How you doing, my friend? You doing all right?
And I'm doing fantastic, man. Another week ahead of us. A lot to do, a lot to think about, a lot of stuff going on. Life throws things your way.
Yes. I'm in a different spot than I usually am in because life keeps throwing things at me, like, AC going out, water pipes breaking in the house, and these things happen in retirement too. And maybe, Shawn, that's why you got to keep working, who knows?
Right. I'm going to put you in a bubble.
Dude, put the house, put me something in the bubble. But let's talk about our topic first. Let's kind of, instead of just the money first, I guess, let's back up a little bit. A big reason, you've been doing this a long time, right? So you're a financial professional. You're the founder and CEO at RetireWise. You've seen a lot of stuff, right? And sometimes just doing nothing is bad for humans, right? So like the social thing, the work family, if you will, like getting out of the house, that could be a huge reason why people still want to work.
Oh, 100%. I mean, people think about retirement and they think about money first. A lot of people do, but there's so many other aspects to it, right? I mean, there's a social aspect to it. We have this thing called the Retire Happy Framework, this trademark process we have. And part of it, though, is talking about, hey, what other things you got to be aware of about retirement? And it's, like you said, the social and the mental aspects of it, because we're social beings, right? For the most part. That's the way we're designed and DNA'd. So you spent your life punching a time clock or going in the office, whatever it is. You have the structure, you got interaction with other people. And now all of a sudden your world just got turned upside down and your day looks totally different. And that freaks some people out. Maybe not at first. You get past the honeymoon phase of the retirement, then it starts freaking them out, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I had this eye injury earlier in the year. You and I were talking about it. And I was in the bed for 5 weeks because you had to sleep at a certain angle and all this stuff. And people sometimes they go, oh, you didn't have to work. And, sometimes you think, hey, this is fun. This is kind of nice to have the downtime, not because of the injury, but the downtime. And it's like, eventually you kind of go, this sucks. I need to do something. I need to move. I need to interact with people and all that kind of stuff. And I think the same thing kind of happens to retirees often when they don't have something to retire to.
That's right. And so there's some people that retire and you look at the reason people work. Well, so sometimes it can be, sure, there's the money and the necessity side, but oftentimes it's people go back to work and ideally, like part-time. Ideally, it's not because you have to, right? But some people go back to work just because they need that interaction with other human beings, right? And so if you do it part-time, and here's the good thing is you have now the flexibility, hopefully, to do something. Maybe you're in a stressful job. You don't want a stressful job for retirement. Maybe you're doing consulting or you're just going to go do a job that's low stress and you're just there with people. That's why you hear about a lot of guys working at Home Depot, in their spare time or whatever it is, whatever your passion is or something that's you enjoy, that just gives you that social interaction. But the other flip side of that is if you don't want to work, there's so many other things you can do. You can volunteer your time. You can do charity work. There's so many things. Get involved in hobbies that occupy some of your time. Lord knows we all need some help out in this world and volunteer work and those kind of things. So there's a plethora of things. And we try to get people to start thinking about that well ahead of when they retire. What do you want your days to look like? And get them to start thinking about it because it's hard for a lot of people to picture that, right? Until you get there.
Yeah. Well, and so if you do want to do that and something to consider and talk with your financial professional about is if you are thinking about doing part-time, right? And especially if you do walk away a little early, just know that there are some income limitations, right? So there's some things there with Social Security. So just make sure you're running some of that information by there as well. And sometimes this is a great stopgap for people, who are on that cusp of they're like, Shawn, look, I gotta get out of here. I can't do the big gig anymore. It's killing me. Right. So, and then you're running the math and stuff. And it's like, okay, we're going to still need a little bit of income. And this is a part-time conversation as well. So if the money worries, and that's number 2 on this list, is part of that, maybe that's a conversation worth having.
Yeah. And 100%. And it all goes back to that plan, right? It's knowing exactly where you're at and what your needs are going to be and how we cover those needs, right? That's the core of any plan. Before we get into the wants and the wishes and the trips and the fun stuff, we got to make sure you're paying your bills and everything everything's taken care of, right? You don't want to be stressed about that in retirement. So we start looking at this well before retirement and map it out, right?
Yeah.
Are you in good shape? That's part of our responsibility to say, do you have gaps or not? Okay, if you have a gap, here's what you're going to need to think about, bringing in a monthly basis. Or if you don't have a gap and you just want to volunteer your time, then we'll talk about, or how much do you need to make sure you don't have to work? So go into this retirement gig with some confidence, right? Not guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a math problem for sure, but I'd like to say, retirement's also kind of an English problem, like or a literature problem, or whatever class that would have been. The who, what, where, when, and why, right?
Yeah. Right.
I guess that would have been English, right? Because sometimes it's like, what are you doing in retirement? Who are you doing it with, right? Why are you doing some of the things that you're wanting to do, right? I mean, so there's all these other little pieces that go, but of course the math has to, make it work. From a financial
Well, that's the first question we ask is, what do you want to do in retirement?
Yeah, there you go. Right.
What do you want your days to look like? Because at the end of the day, money is a tool to facilitate your retirement. Money is a tool to facilitate your lifestyle. We just want to make sure and do our best to make sure it works for you and dial it in so you know exactly where you're at.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can make educated decisions based on facts, not a hope.
Well, and that's the key right there. I love that phrase, right? Because it's like, get the math, get the education, get the information, and then you can start to work in some of those emotional components that do make up our lives, because we're emotional creatures. So, having some of that logic there helps you make better, hopefully, ideally, informed, emotional decisions. And of course, if you guys need help, as always, go to retirewisepro.com. That's retirewisepro.com. If you got some questions, need some help, Shawn was talking about that Retire Happy framework. You can get that toolkit right there on the website as well. So go check that stuff out. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But as far as our topic goes, Shawn, let's go to the next piece here on the list, because look, if you're married, you're going to be able to relate to it, right? Because you love your spouse, absolutely. But if you have to see them 24/7, you might want to, be a little aggravated at times. Look, everybody, we all know the pandemic was an interesting, I think, experiment in some ways in people who were like, oh, wow, we're together all the time. And you kind of saw some of the stresses. Maybe it was kind of a pre-run, if you will, for retirement, being locked down, being in the same house. Granted, that's a little too much, right? That kind of lockdown, but you still, that's a big thing that people struggle with. So couples come in often and they're like, she's in my way, or he's in my way, or, get them out of the house. Can we go do something? Can we get them into a hobby? Can we afford this or afford that? Sometimes, Shawn, that's even where like side businesses come up in retirement conversations, right? Because it's like, I need something to do so I don't kill him.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's funny. I laugh all the time. We talk to couples, clients, and we ask them about their day, and we'll have one or the other. And let's be honest, it's usually the wife saying it about the husband, that, hey, I don't know if I can be, around him 24/7, love him to death, but, and sometimes you don't know. Pandemic was a great experiment. Like you said, give you a little taste of it. But we see that a lot. And a lot of times, and it's a great point, is you see side business. People create LLC to do consulting or crafting, or they take their hobby and they make it a job.
Great. Woodworking or whatever.
They don't need a job, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a job, but it occupies their time just to get the alone time. Because as human beings, yes, we're social, but I also think, not to get into marriage counseling, but it's also good to have your own time as well. Right?
Well, we need a little me time. There's nothing wrong with a little me time. Right. And I think that's a great point. Well, look, let's be honest too. You also wear multiple hats as a financial professional. You do have a counselor hat and a marriage hat, as well as the financial hat, because most times people come in and they, as couples, we don't, we talked about this many times, and I'm sure we'll do it many more times. Often we're, opposites attract, right? So you've got one that's a saver, one that's a spender, one that's conservative, one that's, ready to, swing for the fences financially speaking, right? So,
well, it's funny because, like you said, there's only every once in a while you'll get people that are on, quote, we think they're on the same page, right? Okay. As far as their mentality goes, and then stuff happens.
Somebody says something, and the other one's like, "What?"
Ran out of so much, but you can see it's funny watching the wheels turn as you're talking to people and just getting to know them and asking questions, and you're posing things about retirement, and they're thinking, they're like, "Oh yeah," and they're discovering things as we're talking, right? It's great, and it's great to plan those things ahead. It's like. Yeah, just like you want to plan your retirement plan. We always talk about on the show, about having the roadmap. Well, that's just all part of it, right? What are you going to spend your time with and be thinking about that, going into
Yeah.
it? Because there's, retirement is such a change, like we talked about, just, from a finance standpoint, but also from, a time, relation, person standpoint.
Yeah.
It's just huge.
So look, you may consider working because you like the social interaction. You like staying busy. You just want, to get out of the house and spend a little bit of time during the day far away from your significant other, so you can keep those bonds strong, right? It could be all of those things, Shawn, or it could be simply that you don't have a plan or you doubt the one that you do. That's the kind of the final one I wanted to talk about, because we often say, look, if you're working with somebody and you're not sure and you want a second opinion, there's nothing wrong with going out and getting a second opinion from another advisor. Or like many people, you just don't have a plan, period, because you're going to get around to it and you just haven't gotten around to it.
And that's the thing. We use that word confidence a lot, right? Don't go into retirement with doubts, right? Who wants to have doubts and worry going into retirement, right? You just spent your whole life working and you had the steady paycheck coming in, and now you're not saving anymore. Oh my gosh, we got money going.
And there was plenty of worry throughout life, and it's always going to be, right? But try to reduce it a little bit, right?
Right. And the plan helps take some of that down. Does it take away all your, concerns and worries? Is life just grand? Well, I hope it is. Right. But at least with a roadmap, okay, the purpose of these roadmaps is, one, where that income's coming from. If the market takes a turn or taxes do this, what's going to happen, because the plan lays out, okay, turn left here, turn right here when this happens, right? Just like when you jump in your car with a GPS, construction ahead, go over this way, right? And so it gives you a sense of confidence, and you want that confidence going into retirement. Let's take the doubt out of it.
Yeah, because life's going to life, right? I mean, like we were just talking about, air conditioners and water pipes breaking. While you got a paycheck, it sucks, but you don't feel as worried. But when you're in retirement, those things really stress people out. And again, a strategy and a roadmap, the emergency fund, the different buckets, those things help with some of that uneasiness.
Yeah, you put it all together. And when we say plan, it's factoring in all the different things. It's the what ifs in life. Sure, it's your income every month. It's paying taxes and minimizing taxes.
Right.
It's what happens with health insurance, long-term care. What happens when life throws you a curveball? What do we do? What happens if I need to remodel the house? Well, part of our job, is, okay, when those things happen, we can run scenarios, and just having someone by your side to run information against, right? And so you can make, we referenced earlier, is make educated decisions versus emotional decisions.
Yeah, exactly. So, and at the end of the day, folks, whatever your reason for continuing to work in retirement, make sure that it makes sense within a strategy, within a cohesive plan for your scenario. Everybody's different. What Shawn needs is different than what I need, and so on and so forth. So make sure you get some help. And of course, the team is here to help you do that. They've got that. We'll have a link in the descriptions down below. Just click on that for that 1 hour free planning consultation. Go to retirewisepro.com. Again, links will be in the show descriptions here on YouTube. Certainly a good resource for you to take some time to have a conversation and see if they can be a good fit for you. So reach out to them today. Again, click on one of the links below, and don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple or Spotify or right here on YouTube, whatever app you enjoy using, so you catch new episodes when they come out. Shawn, thanks for hanging out, my friend.
Always a pleasure, my bud.
I appreciate it. Have yourself a great day, and remember to retire wise right here, and tune into the podcast. We'll see you next time.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business RetireWise LLC. RetireWise LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management LLC, AEWM, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by RetireWise LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. RetireWise LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein, provided by third parties, have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by RetireWise LLC.